All right, there you go. One more time with the order.
Okay, so it's going to be case and order, oversight, Middle Eastern stability, human rights, and then it's going to be the security K, the elections, politics, DA, and then the NUS monitoring counterplan.
All right.
Okay. Is anyone not ready?
Totally ready.
Cool.
Never been so ready. It's hard to be more ready.
Okay.
So ready. Really ready.
You done?
Incredibly. Go.
Okay. First, on oversight, we need congressional oversight in order to check Trump so that Congress has a more effective position in foreign policy. This gives them the power to stop wars and global conflict. Their Kreiner 10 card isn't even in the context of Saudi Arabia. It says that if there was a country who wanted to go to war with the U.S., then they would be more likely to escalate because the U.S. looks weak with congressional opposition. There's a war in Yemen happening right now, and that's why we need oversight. Additionally, oversight spills over and increases multilateralism, which is better than unilateralism because Congress can check the president. That's Stravers 19. Their Edelson 16 card says that Congress can't generate the political will to check Trump, but again, the only reason why we haven't ended arms sales is the emergency provision from Section 36. That's Anderson 19 from the 1AC. And ending the emergency exception is key, Brazzi 19. Trump circumvented Congress and sell weapons to Saudi Arabia, and Pompeo notified Congress that the administration would move without congressional approval. He said it a rarely used provision of the Arms Export Control Act, which allows the president to bypass Congress if he determines there is an emergency. The administration has inflated the threat posed by Iran. Congress offers the best hope to end the American role in a war that's triggered one of the world's worst humanitarian crises. Congressional critics of the world likely need to secure a veto-proof majority. It is a matter of moral and political urgency. Next, on Middle Eastern stability, our Young 17 card says that it independently escalates into continued military spending and proliferation. As arms spending rises, it increases the likelihood of conflict and regional insecurity. Other countries feel the need to acquire more weapons, which leads to an arms race. That leads me to our Brez 17 card, as it will lead to escalation by major power players, which goes nuclear, leading to extinction. First, on the Rogan 18 card, they can't make this argument in conjunction with the security K, but I'll get that later on the security K flow. Their Maloney and Tekia 07 card is from 2007 and can't accurately defend the status quo when it's more than a decade old. Even if you don't buy that, it's answered with this advantage because we're seeing instability right now, which means that obviously our arms sales aren't stopping the war in Yemen and is in fact escalating it. That's still Rio 17. And their Weiss 15 card also isn't in the context of Saudi Arabia, so prefer our 1AC evidence. Next, U.S. arms sales destabilize Yemen and causes a humanitarian crisis, Al-Thani 18. UAE and Saudi Arabia launched an airstrikes in Yemen, killing dozens. Humanitarian tragedy in Yemen must come to an end. Saudi Arabia and the UAE tried to ignore radicalization with their own borders. The result was Bin Laden. And next, on human rights, arms sales are ruining U.S. credibility because the weapons are being used to fuel human rights violations. U.S. credibility is necessary to solve global conflict because we are able to more effectively promote our values of democracy and peace. That's our Green 17 evidence. Their Heinrichs 18 card says that arms sales to Saudi Arabia is key leverage to stop Saudi Arabia from committing human rights violations, but we're not using it as leverage in the status quo, so this argument makes no sense. Next, their Tyler and Rachko evidence says that there are alternate causes for a decline in credibility, but if we can prove that ending arms sales makes our credibility net better, then that's a reason to vote AF. Also, it doesn't change or address the fact that weapons are being used to commit human rights violations right now, which the AF solves. Next, on the security K, don't let them run the security K in their argument on the Middle Eastern instability advantage, the Rogan 18 card, that says that U.S. is key to keep Saudi in check because they're contradictory. They say that we need to contain Saudi by keeping arms sales, but that's based on a desire to control and manage. They either drop the K or they concede our Middle East stability advantage. They only have defensive arguments on the advantage, and have already proven that there is an impact to instability. And even if you don't believe that conditionality is bad, well, even if you believe that conditionality is good, contradicting stances aren't. They're essentially turning their own arguments. Don't let them assume a different worlds, when the AF is constricted to one. This ruins fairness and disincentivizes people to participate in debate or adhere to the topic, which also hurts education. Next,
are you making a conditionality bad argument?
Yeah.
Keep going.
Okay. Our advantage solves for the K because we're reducing arms sales and thus the way we approach international relations that the NEG advocates against. Instead of using arms sales to exert our influence, we take them out, and that leads to Middle Eastern stability and better foreign policy from congressional oversight. And the affirmative active scenario planning is a form of critical pedagogy which solves the blind spots of the K and enhances creativity and self-reflexivity while deconstructing cognitive biases and flawed assumptions. Barma et al. 15. Focus on providing college with skills to better communicate the findings and implications of their research is another crucial component is the generation of substantive research programs that are actually policy relevant in a field that is devotion to pedagogical self-reflection. Little attention is paid to techniques for generating and developing innovative research ideas. We argue that scenario analysis should be viewed as a tool to simulate problem-based learning and discuss broader benefits of using scenarios to help generate research ideas, long-term global trends across a number of different realms, and combine in often unexpected ways to produce unforeseen challenges. The power of scenario lies in their ability to break out of conventional thinking and analysis by introducing combinations of trends and measuring alternative worlds enables policymakers to adapt to something altogether different from the known present. And perm do the alt in all instances except the aft. Extend our Land 19 evidence from the 1AC that specifically says we need to end arms sales to Saudi Arabia. Their vague philosophy can be applied in any